Hey everyone, what if I told you the best years of your life aren't behind you? They're right in front of you. Yup, your 50s, 60s, and even beyond can be the most exciting, fulfilling, and meaningful decades yet, if you know the right mindset tricks to unlock them. And today, I'm going to share 5 life-changing Stoic secrets that will help you do just that. These ancient principles have been around for over 2,000 years, and guess what? They're more relevant now than ever. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, find more joy, or just feel more at peace with life, these tips are going to hit home. Stick with me until the end, because the last one might just blow your mind. Also, quick challenge for you. As we go through these secrets, I want you to comment down below with one habit you'll start practicing today. Let's keep each other accountable and make sure we live our best lives. And don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Life Recipe for more tips to help you unlock peace, happiness, and success. Now, let's dive right into it. 1. Focus only on what you can control. Let's really dive into this first one, because focusing only on what you can control can absolutely change your life. It sounds easy, but in practice, it takes some serious awareness and effort. The Stoics believe that most of our suffering comes not from the events themselves, but from how we react to them. And often, we're reacting to things outside our control. Think about a typical day. How many times have you gotten upset over something you had no influence over? Maybe someone cut you off in traffic. Your coworker sent you an annoying email. The economy took a hit, and now your investments are making you anxious. The natural instinct is to stress, worry, or get angry. But here's the truth. No matter how upset you get, it won't change those things. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers and a Roman emperor, said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It's empowering when you fully grasp this idea. Imagine how much lighter life becomes when you stop pouring your energy into things you can't control. Here's a quick exercise. Try keeping a list of things that bother you throughout the day. At the end of the day, go through the list and ask, was this within my control? If not, make a note to consciously let it go next time. Over time, you'll train your mind to stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. Let's talk about relationships for a second. This principle is huge when it comes to dealing with other people. You can't control what people say, think, or do. You can't force your adult kids to take your advice. You can't control how your boss behaves, and the more you try to control others, the more stressed you'll feel. But here's the good news. You can control your own actions and responses. You can choose kindness when someone is rude. You can walk away from an argument instead of escalating it. That's real power. Another area where this principle is a game changer is with health and aging. Look, we're all getting older. We can't stop time, and we can't control everything about our health. But instead of worrying about wrinkles or stressing over things we can't change, we can focus on what we can control. We can eat better, exercise, get enough sleep, and care for our mental health. These are all things within our power, and they can make a huge difference in how we feel. Here's one more tip. Practice the 2 circles mindset. Picture 2 circles, one for things you can control and one for things you can't. Whenever you're faced with a problem, mentally sort it into one of those circles. If it falls in the can't control circle, you let it go. If it's in the can control circle, you take action. This technique sounds simple, but it's incredibly effective. By learning to focus only on what's within your control, you free yourself from so much unnecessary stress. Instead of feeling powerless, you'll start seeing yourself as the master of your own mind. And the beauty of this mindset? It gets easier with practice. Over time, you'll notice that the small stuff just doesn't bother you anymore. you'll feel more peaceful, more in control, and more resilient, no matter what life throws your way. 3. Memento mori, remember you're mortal. All right, now let's take a moment to talk about memento mori. Remember, you are going to die. I know it sounds heavy, maybe even a little scary, but hear me out. This isn't about being morbid or depressing. In fact, it's one of the most empowering ideas you'll ever encounter. The Stoics believed that reminding ourselves of our mortality isn't something to fear. It's something that can set us free. Why? Because when we truly grasp that our time on earth is limited, we stop wasting it on things that don't matter. We start living more intentionally. Think about it. How much of your life do you spend stressing over little things? How often do you procrastinate on happiness, telling yourself you'll enjoy life someday? Memento mori reminds you that someday isn't guaranteed. Life isn't a rehearsal, and every day you wake up is a gift. Instead of being afraid of death, the Stoics taught us to use it as a compass to point us toward what really matters. What would you do differently if today were your last day? You wouldn't waste it scrolling through social media, right? You'd call the people you care about. You'd pursue what truly matters to you. Here's a fun fact. Some people in ancient Rome used to carry tiny skulls as reminders of memento mori. It wasn't to scare them, but to remind them to live fully. Nowadays, we don't need skulls in our pockets, but we do need reminders. A great habit is to ask yourself at the start of each day, if this were my last day, how would I live it? It's a simple question, but it can shift your entire mindset. One powerful example of memento mori in action is Steve Jobs. In a famous speech, he said that for years he would wake up and look in the mirror, asking himself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do? And if the answer was no, too many days in a row, he knew it was time to make a change. That's the kind of clarity memento mori can give you. It helps you focus on what really matters. The truth is, when we forget that life is finite, we take things for granted. We assume we'll have time to repair that relationship, take that trip, or pursue that passion. But memento mori reminds us that the clock is ticking, and instead of making us anxious, it gives us the courage to live without regret. Here's a practical challenge. Pick one thing you've been putting off, something that would bring you joy or meaning, and do it this week. Whether it's starting a new hobby, reconnecting with an old friend, or finally taking that weekend trip, stop waiting. Memento mori isn't about fearing death. It's about making sure you don't waste your life. 4. Practice voluntary discomfort. All right, let's talk about voluntary discomfort. I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone choose to be uncomfortable? But this is one of the Stoics' most powerful practices, and here's why. When you deliberately expose yourself to discomfort, you build mental toughness and resilience. You become less afraid of the hard stuff, and that makes life easier. Let's look at an example. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, used to wear old, shabby clothes and eat simple food for several days, on purpose. He did this to remind himself that even if life took everything away from him, he could still endure. And guess what? He found peace in the simplicity. The goal isn't to suffer, but to train yourself not to be controlled by comfort. Think about modern life. Comfort is everywhere. We've got heated seats, fast food, next-day delivery, and streaming services. It's great, but here's the problem. The more comfortable we get, the more fragile we become. We start to panic if the Wi-Fi goes down for 5 minutes. That's why practicing voluntary discomfort is so important. It toughens us up and makes us appreciate what we have. Here's how you can try it. Start small, take a cold shower, skip a meal, walk instead of driving somewhere, or leave your phone at home for a day. At first, It might feel uncomfortable, and that's the point. You're training your mind to say, I can handle this. And the amazing thing, you start to realize that most of the things you fear aren't as bad as you thought. Let me give you an example. Have you ever skipped a meal by accident? Maybe you were busy and didn't get a chance to eat lunch. At first, you might feel annoyed or uncomfortable, but after a while, you realize you're still fine. You didn't starve to death. In fact, you might even feel sharper and more focused. That's the magic of voluntary discomfort. It teaches you that you're stronger than you think. And here's the cool part. Once you've trained yourself to handle discomfort, life's challenges don't seem as scary. If you've taken cold showers, a rainy day won't ruin your mood. If you've fasted, waiting an extra hour for dinner isn't a big deal. When you stop fearing discomfort, you stop being controlled by it, and that's real freedom. So here's your challenge. This week, pick one small discomfort to practice. It could be as simple as waking up 30 minutes earlier than usual, or drinking black coffee instead of your usual latte. The goal isn't to punish yourself, it's to remind yourself that you can handle more than you think. And once you start embracing discomfort, you'll feel unstoppable. The power of gratitude. Now, let's wrap things up with one of the simplest but most powerful Stoic practices, gratitude. The Stoics believed that happiness doesn't come from getting more. It comes from appreciating what you already have. It's not about having a perfect life. It's about noticing the small joys in the life you already have. Let's face it, it's easy to focus on what's missing. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need more. More money, more success, more stuff. But here's the thing, chasing more will never make you feel content. If you're always focused on what you don't have, you'll never appreciate what you do have. Gratitude shifts your perspective. It helps you focus on the good things in your life, no matter how small. And here's the secret, the more you focus on the good, the more good you'll notice. It's like training your brain to look for the positive. Here's a quick exercise. Start a gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Something as simple as, I had a good cup of coffee, or the weather was nice today, is enough. Over time, you'll start to notice that even on tough days, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude also helps you stay grounded. When life gets hectic, pausing to reflect on what's good in your life can bring a sense of peace. It reminds you that no matter what challenges you face, there's always something to appreciate. And here's the best part. Gratitude is contagious. When you practice it, you inspire the people around you to do the same. Imagine how much better your relationships would be if you and the people you care about made a habit of appreciating each other. A little gratitude goes a long way. So here's your challenge. Every morning this week, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as small as I slept well, or as big as I'm grateful for my family. And don't just keep it to yourself. Share your gratitude with others. Tell someone you appreciate them and watch how it strengthens your connection. Gratitude is a habit, and the more you practice it, the happier you'll feel. It's one of the easiest ways to bring more joy and meaning into your life, starting right now. Wrapping it up, there you have it. The top 5 Stoic secrets to make your 50s, 60s, and beyond your best decades yet. Focus only on what you can control. Love your fate. Remember that life is short. Practice discomfort and cultivate gratitude every day. These principles are simple but incredibly powerful, and they work. So now, it's your turn. Which Stoic habit will you start practicing today? Comment below and let us know. Let's hold each other accountable and make the rest of our lives the best of our lives. And hey, if you found value in this video, hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic Life Recipe, and share this with someone who could use a little Stoic wisdom in their life. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, Your best years are just getting started. See you in the next one.